This is the average beehive. This is Superman hive, okay? Superman, average, average. Got it? All right, so let's find out what's wrong with this hive. This hive's not gonna make it through winter unless we can fix it now. Something's wrong with this hive. This hive is not like the rest of them. One of these hives is not like the others. Hey everybody, David Burns, good to be with you today. I'm glad to be back from speaking at a conference all weekend. Good to be back in the bee yard making videos for you guys. Whoa, pumped and excited, woohoo. So yeah, one of these hives I've been watching all year, and I don't know, it's losing steam, and we want to go in there and figure out why. This might be a really helpful video for you guys that are kind of like wondering if your hive is on par with where it should be. Today we're going to jump in there and see, is the weather going to hold? It is hot and humid, 83 degrees right now with 83% humidity. It's really sticky when the temperature is the same as the humidity. And but anyway, we'll get by. You like my shirt? I don't usually wear a white shirt, but in the bee yard, I think it makes a lot more sense, you know, not to wear black like I usually do. And it's the Beak Squad sticker. Is that Thunder? It's a Beak Squad sticker that we have these shirts available if you're interested. The only reason I don't like white is because of this. I always get stuff all over my hands, and then my shirt's going to look as dirty as my bee suit. So I'm never going to keep a white shirt clean. Hey, I want to encourage you to come join me in this hive, and let's find out what's wrong with it. But before I do, I'm going to be speaking at the Illinois State Convention coming up this weekend, if you're watching that close to when I publish this video. And I'm going to be speaking on queen rearing. Dr. David Peck and I taught all last weekend on queen rearing. We had a whole day, and we had 40 students, and it was just awesome. And if you guys have a conference somewhere, your state conference, and you want me and David to give a one-day queen rearing course for your state, we would love to do that. We enjoyed it. We really complimented each other. So anyway, I'm going to be speaking this weekend, Saturday, and I'll leave a link right here where you can register. I think there's only 30 spots left in my course, so you want to make sure register as soon as you can. It doesn't cost that much. It's just for Saturday. And if you're here in Illinois or nearby, you want to come check me out, do that. All right, let's jump into this hive. You know, I thought I'd kind of show you what I mean. I mean, you can look at the entrance, and I'm a big proponent that says the entrance doesn't tell us much at all, but certainly it does tell us quite a bit. You would think a master beekeeper would trim up these things in front of the hive there. So you see that, what the entrances look like? Let's look over here. So check out, you know, coming and going pretty good for this time of the year on a hot day. And good, really good, good, and what? Not good. Okay, good. So this is what concerns us, when you just all at once stop seeing activity at the front like you would want to see. So this would be a good video to help you guys realize, oh my gosh, what do I do if I start seeing that? First thing we want to do is smoke the entrance. It sounds like there's some bees in there, so let's check it out. We got a lot of rain yesterday, about almost an inch of rain all day yesterday. And that's why there's so much water on here. Not enough to flood the bee yard here like normally would happen. Okay. Oh, look at that. I see good population. I always like to turn the top cover upside down and see if I see any small hive beetles, and I don't. All right, but I do see low populations. When I was in Kansas, I did a lot of work in the hives teaching students. There's more population on this side and hardly none over here. And I have put some new frames in there, so we'll check things out. But as I was working those hives out there, it was hot in Kansas. It was hot and humid. And I just had, like I have on today, a t-shirt, no gloves. And I heard somebody say, look at him. He's just working that hive with t-shirt and no gloves. Well, I had my suit and gloves there because I wasn't sure how it would go. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm going to try to work this hive. as long as they will let me. And I'm kind of watching. I know how to kind of read a hive like this and know if they're going to be real defensive or not. And so far, they're not. But I tell you though, I've discovered this on hot, humid days like this. I think bees can be a little more cranky. I am. I'm more cranky on a hot, humid day. Like, get away from me. I need some room to breathe around here. Not a bad idea to look at almost every frame, see what, until we discover what's going on. All right, so now we're saying a little bit of resources they can tap into. Ooh, that's a problem. For me, a whole frame ready with nothing in it. No eggs, no larvae, no pupae, no resources. How come? Bum, 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 you know. Yikes. So we got to find out what's wrong. What's wrong? How do you diagnose a weak, just called a weak hive? How do you diagnose it? And how do you solve it? I mean, you got to fix it, right? You can't, this hive's not going to make it through winter unless we can fix it now on June the, let's see, what's today? June the, let's see, I spoke in Kansas on Saturday the 6th, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So it'd be June the 9th. June the 9th. So we got to get this thing going. That's all it is to it. This hive's got to cowboy up and get her done now. Ooh, yeah, if it doesn't, we're in deep trouble. And that's a broken frame that we're playing with here. It's like I tried to staple it a long time ago, and that didn't work really good. Staple, I got to push back down, but I can tell the sidebar is sitting way too low, and it's stuck to the frame below it. So I'm going to try to see if I can work my hive tool magic and let that sidebar come up with us rather than break, because I need this frame out of here. Oh boy, it is stuck in it. All right. Let's see if we can pull it, see what happens, put a little pressure on it. Maybe it'll come up. I don't want it to separate. Oh, it is. It's, okay, we got it. This hive may have swarmed a time or two. That could be one of the reasons they're low on population. And I think I just answered my own question. Look at that at the bottom there of that frame. Swarm cell, swarm cell, swarm cell, opened not really long time ago. So they've been in the mode of reproducing. And it kind of probably reduced their numbers. All right. Here's a new frame we put in on 2026 of this year. And they're getting a little excited about drawing it out. Not a whole lot of work done there yet. When a hive gets low in numbers like this, they lose a lot of their workforce, especially like wax makers, because they need those wax makers to go with the swarm. By the way, the swarm is made up of all ages of honeybees, according to Tom Seeley's book, Democracy of Honeybees, but they're younger bees, and certainly they need bees that are between 12 and 17 days old. Those are the wax making ages, and so they take a lot of those with them. And this hive may be suffering a little lapse in workforce. Could have certainly swarmed once or twice. Look at all that bee bread. I love bee bread. That's how they make brood. These nurse bees will consume that bee bread, and their hypopharyngeal glands will produce royal jelly, supporting 1 to 3 a day larvae. So that looks really good, doesn't it? All right. So we got the nutrition. So I taught in Kansas, and one of my talks was on honeybee nutrition, and I really emphasized the need for the hive to have, like you see here, bee bread, nutrition. They can't make brood without nutrition. So we can check that off our list. This hive is not suffering from being protein deprived at all. They've got plenty of food for the population here. And we're just kind of wanting to see now, are they queen right? Now, sometimes a colony that swarms, they have to raise queens from those swarm cells, obviously, that we saw. And then those queens fight it out, and one prevailing queen will be left to rule the hive. And if something happens in the fight and she doesn't get mated or something, we're in trouble. Okay, so I'm looking at this frame and I see brood of all ages. I see brood that is not quite capped over, not maybe in a place or two, but mainly I see some open brood, like almost 7 to 8 days old, ready to be capped over, and I see eggs, larvae. So that's a good sign that we have a queen. Man, I am sweating profusely. Look at the different stages of young larvae, young brood on this frame here. You see how beautiful that looks? This tells us that we're in good shape. I don't see the queen on this one, but I see the presence of the queen. I see eggs. If she laid eggs, we see eggs that are there. That means the queen laid those eggs today or yesterday. That's the egg only stays an egg about 3 days, and then it hatches to the larvae stage. So the queen was here. We're not queenless. But since I've seen swarm cells on all of these frames that I'm looking at, that's what I suspect happened. Multiple swarms, and that's a good brood pattern. We have some good brood in the future that's about to emerge. And look at that, the same here. Oh gosh, thousands of bees will be emerging just from this hive, just from this frame here, in no time at all. So that is good stuff right there. Food, we got brood in various ages, stages. We're in good shape. Let's just look at another one here. See what this looks like. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, good brood pattern again. Yes. Look at this side over here. Beautiful brood pattern. I've got to show you this. I'm going to walk around where the camera can focus more on what I'm going to show you here. Can't stress the importance of this frame here. Honey around the outer perimeter at the top. And that is bee bread just below the honey. See the orange reddish color. And then we have a little bit of open brood and then mostly cap brood. This is the rainbow effect. That's how you feed the kids. You got to have honey. Got to have that bee bread to feed the nurse bees, to feed that little bead of not kept over brood yet, and then look at all that. So that's beautiful. That's what you want to see. So just like that, we made an assessment. We determined why they're kind of low in numbers coming in and out of the front. Because they swarmed, and I think they swarmed more than once. And the bees know my speaking schedule, and so they know that they can get away with the swarm when I'm out speaking somewhere over the weekend. I'm kidding. But it seems like that. No matter what I do, they're going to swarm because they know that they can get away with it. That's a reproductive swarm, and they came out of winter so prolific that they knew they could probably pull a couple of them off. And it just kept reducing their numbers. And they'll be fine though. Yeah, so my suggestion on this hive, if you wanted to know my assessment of it, plenty of food on board, good number of bees, population is up. We have a lot of bees coming up down the pike. We saw all that capped brood. Those bees will continue to join the workforce of foragers. It will pick up. So we saw eggs. You might be saying, David, why didn't you find the queen? Don't we want to find the queen? Absolutely not. I saw eggs. So I know she's in there. The longer I hold it open and try to look for her, increases the chance that you could injure or kill her moving frames around. We saw what we needed to see. This hive is fine. Now, did you see how easy it was to inspect this hive and diagnose it very quickly? We checked for small hive beetle. We checked for the brood. We checked for resources. We saw everything we needed to see. We did not see any diseases. We ruled out European foul brood because all the larvae looked great, pearly white, and all the cap brood did not have any perforations in it. But we saw a gajillion swarm cells. And so, yeah, they swarmed and got low on population, but everything looks good. It's just going to take them a minute to get going again. And so we can kind of say, okay, this hive is going to be fine. and we'll keep checking it, but it all looks good right now because we saw those eggs, larvae, and pupae, and I'm excited about it. Now it's very hot. I want to show you something. Since it's so hot today, I brought along a drink that will keep me hydrated. I use Body Armor. This is not a paid promotion. I've used Body Armor as an athlete most of my recent life and all the biking and cycling that I do, and it keeps me hydrated. But let me show you how you can drink this without taking your hat and veil off. I showed this when I was speaking out in Kansas. It was really hot out there, and I was showing them that you need to stay hydrated. And I had, I think, this bottle, and I was demonstrating how you can, you don't want to take your hat off because there's so many bees in the air and everything. But watch how easy it is for me to drink with my hat and veil on. All you do is you're going to push the lid up against your lips. Just push the screen toward you like this. See if I can get a good shot of it here. And I got many, many good gulps. Yeah, look at that. Leaves a little bit right there, but you stay hydrated. It's really important because you might take water, but if you're losing, a lot of your minerals and essential salts and stuff in your body, you're not going to make it. Water, you've got to replenish what you're losing. And so anyway, that's what I use, and it works out really good. I want to encourage you guys to really think about queen rearing. I've been making a lot of videos about it. It was a pleasure working with Dr. Peck. He and I worked together for the last couple of years at EAS in the Master Beekeeper program, testing candidates and all. And we had a ball together. That was our first time to work together all day long from, I think, 9 to 4, a little after 4, out in Kansas. We had 40 students in our class, and we taught them how to graft, how to make starter hives, how to make finishing hives out there in the field, showing them. And keep that in mind. I would love for Dr. Peck and I to come to your place. I really would. I would love for us to come to your conference. This conference had their conference on Saturday, and after they booked us, they said, hey, would you guys be interested in doing a queen rearing class on the day before? And we were like, yeah, sure. So that's something for you to consider for your club or something, to have me and David out, because David brings the science, and he's he's such a great bee scientist, and then I bring the practical, hands-on, in the hive kind of touch to it. So together we had a ball. So check that out. I'll leave something right here for you can contact us if you think, yeah, that'd be a good idea for our next meeting. But remember, I'm going to be speaking in Springfield, Illinois this Saturday on queen rearing. I want you to come. There's, I think, less than 30 tickets available for my course. I'd love for you to be there. Check this link out and show up there. Meet me. We'll have a great time together. Now, I recently made a video on what your new package should be up to by this time of the year in June. And if you don't really know for sure if your hive's doing good, check this video out right here. I'll see you over there.